Okay, let's go and actually write a function involving this new compound type we have about book. Actually, before that, I even want to make another example of the data. I want more than just one. So we went ahead and had this example about the cat in the hat. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to make a book. I'm going to try to sort of stress some of these different fields here and put in values for test cases. I'm not too worried about the strings for the title, and maybe I should go ahead and kind of be an empty string. And that's a little bit weird to have an empty string for the name of a book. To say it does have a title, but it is the empty string. By the way, I am saying that every book does have a title. By going ahead and saying this here, that I have a title which is of type string, I'm saying any string is a title. If I wanted to have some sort of sentinel value that, hey, what about books that have no title? Well, that's going to be some sort of union type string and something else. Because if some artist wants to tell me, hey, the book really is titled, and the title is, no characters at all, well, okay. At least my representation shouldn't stop the artist from being able to do that. My system is stopping the artist from saying, hey, I have a book that is untitled. I'll live with that for now. In real life, I might worry about title being its own union type and not just string. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and make something. I'm not going to worry about having an empty string here, so we'll go ahead and try something really short. The Soul of Wit by Barland. 0 pages long, yeah. I'm not going to bother copyrighting this. I want to really spread it around all over. Let people copy it, that's fine. Okay, great. So that's going to be another example of the book. There was some other field values in there. We saw already I can do something like call book title of one of these objects. Gosh, I'm probably going to be using these books repeatedly for test cases. Let me go ahead and just attach some names to these values. B1 for the book 1. For my trivial sort of book, I'll call that B0. That's sort of, yeah, okay. And now I can go ahead and say things like book is copyrighted of B0, or book title of B0 or B1. Notice that what does this define do? Hey, wherever you see B1, actually use the result of calling this function, the result of calling the constructor, which is the book object. Okay, so now wherever I see B1, I can literally replace it with whatever that book object is. So yeah, I could go ahead and replace this with B1 and have exactly the same thing from the computer's point of view. So, okay. So I think the important thing to remember is that what students often want to do when they see this, they, hey, I have a book B0 and I want to find out if it's copyrighted, they write something write something like B0 dot is copyrighted. Or maybe they'll say B0. They remember it's not a dot in there, but they'll just say something like B0 is copyrighted. If I can spell it, shows a shorter field to do this example. Or maybe they'll say is copyrighted, which that's not a Boolean. That's a function that if you give it a book will return a Boolean. It's the name of the getter for all book objects, right? So, yeah, actually, it's not even that. Is copyrighted is not even that. It's the name of the field. You can't use that field name by itself. Sorry, you have to say book is copyrighted. Okay, so it's a little bit. Don't use any of these 3 things here. I find people tend to use these by mistake. Maybe I shouldn't mention them at all. If you want to call a function, open paren. The function you want to call, the name of the function is the structure name, hyphen, and then the field name. So this first hyphen here is always between the struct name and the field name. Okay, so book hyphen title, book hyphen author, book hyphen is copyrighted. Okay, so here's the new program I want to write. Reading time. Reading time is going to take in a book and return how long it takes to read that book on average. Maybe I'm setting up some sort of website about books and I want to advertise and say, hey, if you want books that are in the 1 to 2 hour range, here's whatever. So, okay, I'll write a function reading time. Takes in a book, returns the amount of time it takes for the average reader to read that book in minutes. So first of all, specifying units, pretty important here. Okay. So I've actually gone ahead. I went ahead and wrote the signature, wrote the purpose statement here. We should have some examples of the data. And what is the reading time of a book? So let's go ahead, and I'll go ahead and sort of say that, I go to marketing or whatever and ask them, and they say, yeah, most people read about half a page a minute. Okay, may or may not be true. Let's not worry about that. Okay, half a page a minute. So if you have 37 pages, it's going to take you twice that. It's going to take you 74 minutes. So that's one check expect right there. Reading time of that book, B0, the Soul of Wit. Very brief book, 0 pages, takes 0 minutes. Okay, so go ahead and see if you can go ahead and write down, how should I replace this stub? So when I run this right now, by the way, my test cases fail. I get an unbalanced thing there. That's interesting. That's what I want. Okay, that's looking ahead in the file. What have I done? I've goofed up my recording. What I've done. Oh, that's already near the end. I didn't need that commented out all. I'm sorry. Are you done writing that stub out? Let me go ahead and make sure things are balanced. Yeah, 0 ran 4 tests, 0 tests passed. Okay, so 9999 differs from 74, 999 differs from 0. I have some other things yet that we haven't gotten to. So, okay. So go ahead and complete this to give the right answer. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can write the expression. Actually, write it down. Don't just sort of think about it in your head and say, yeah, I can do it. Write it down, just on a pencil, paper, just the body. Okay, now that you've unpaused. So we have a book. That's what I called this thing. How do I grab the number of pages out of that? So this is what I wanted to actually write down. Book -num pages of a book. This expression now is, what is the type of this expression, the part that I have highlighted? I mean, a book was a book. If I call book num pages on it, I'm going to get back, a natural number. So I now have a natural number. We decided that, hey, it takes 2 minutes per page. So that's sort of not surprising there. Now let me go ahead and run this, and I'll do that, and see if we pass our test cases. Commented out the 2 that I hadn't done yet. Oh, okay, good, we're there. By the way, what is this first part that passes? The cat in the hat and the title. That's these 2 expressions I had sitting up here at the top level, calling book title, my examples of calling the getters on different objects. Okay. So again, biggest problem I notice when people try to do this, just getting used to the Java syntax and being able to call the getter in the middle of your function. You might sort of goof up. We'll come back to the template and see how that helps us. So, I haven't said what the template is going to be for an aggregate type here, a compound type. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and look at book to string. Book to string is going to, we'll carry on in the fine tradition of making 2 string methods. Great, book to string returns string representation of a book struct. So here's my purpose statement, my signature, header, stub body. Okay, what should it look like? And I'll go ahead and tell you for the cat in the hat. We'll go ahead and the string, the user-friendly string we want to give will be, the cat in the hat, comma, by Seuss, parentheses, 37 pages, comma, and then a little copyright sign because it is copyrighted. What about something that's not copyrighted? The Soul of Wit, by Barland, open print 0 pp. Okay. And by the way, I'm not going to worry about this, but it occurs to me as I'm writing test cases. what happens is always going to be 0 pp. pp is plural for multiple pages. Ever should be singular. Oh, what if a book had 1 page? I should probably say 1 pg. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. I should worry about it. This is the time when I think about it. In fact, well, heck, while we're here, let's go ahead and I'll put in a test case. I'm not going to get this test case to pass, but I prefer having this. So this will be the bat in the mat by Struce. Okay. And it has 1. And so really the correct answer is PG rather than PP. Okay. Okay. So great. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can write out the solution to book to string. I've done everything but complete the method. And by the way, one reason people sometimes have a hard time with this part is because I gave you all of that stuff. I didn't have you write the test cases yourself, describe what they should be, and then that would have made you think about things. But okay, go ahead, pause the video, see if you can get it. Wow, that was a quick pause. Okay, you're back. So what are we going to do? Gosh, I want to do a string append. I think that's pretty clear. But before even that, what sort of things do I need to work with? I need to grab the title out of the book. How do I do that? Book title. Okay. What else? I will need the author, book author. I'm just going to put down the pieces that I have to work with. In fact, book num pages. I'll need that. And book is copyrighted of a book. And already I've goofed up something here. Book num pages is a function. I need to call that. I need to pass it some particular book I'm getting in. Okay. So, okay. So these are just the bits and pieces that I need. Okay. And let me think about the different types. Are they just to review here? Book title. Oh, that's going to be a string. This is going to be a string. This is going to be a number. And this is going to be a Boolean. Okay. So I'm working on it. Okay, great. Let me right now sort of pause and come back. Wait, well, not pause, but I'm going to say, this what I've written right here is code that any function handling a book is going to need to use, right? You're going to need to pull out the 4 fields and be able to use them. This is the template for any function handling a book. So I'm doing this backwards. I'm started with an actual example. This is our second function involving books. And I'm saying, hey, really in general, let's go ahead and write the template first. Okay. So we had examples of the data. And now design recipe step 3 template. And the template, I'll call it func for book. Takes in a book and returns, I don't know. Again, this will be what code can I write not knowing what the thing is about at all. Func for book, I'll call the input a book. Okay, great. You can now copy and paste this here. If I'd already written this, we'd now catch up to where we were and be doing this. By the way, reading time. Did reading time follow this template here? It did, except that 3 of the 4 fields didn't enter into it. So I would have copied the template over and then deleted 3 of those 4 field lines. Okay, 3 of the 4 getters. Okay, but now where are we? We're back here. So now, great, I have, and I'm going to make it concrete by thinking about this Cat in the Hat example. So I have the title, a string like Cat in the Hat. I have a string like Zeus. Great. I want to go ahead and be doing a string append. So I'm like happy I have these strings. I have a number like 37. Oh crap, a number. I want a string because I want to be doing a string append with that. So working bottom up here a little bit. Number. How do I convert a number to a string? I mentioned before. If not, you'd go and search through the documentation for beginning student. This is a Boolean. How do I convert a Boolean? Is there a Boolean to string? Boolean. I know there's a number to string. No, there is no such thing. There is a number to string, but not Boolean to string. So yeah, I get different error messages when I just type in the name. That's how I can tell that this function doesn't exist, but this one does, but I wasn't actually calling it. So. Okay. Oh gosh, it's not a. How do I turn this into a string? In fact, what is the string that I want? It's either the copyright symbol. That's actually just, I either want the copyright symbol or I don't want a string at all. The string append. Well, I'm going to be a little bit interesting. I'm going to go ahead and say, the symbol that I want, if it is copyrighted, this is the string if I want. If it's not copyrighted, I want the empty string. This is a weird, I'm going to be string appending a bunch of stuff. What do I string append? Either the copyright symbol or the empty string. So rather than saying I don't string append at all, anything in that case, I'm going to say I do string append, but it is the empty string that I string append. In fact, now that I've already written all that, I'm going to copy and paste. When I think about it more, it's going to be this. I'm going to have something about, I'll use a regular old if. If it is copyrighted, what string do I want to use? This. Otherwise, I want to use the empty string. Okay, so now I have 4 strings sitting in front of me. I have the cat in the hat, I have Seuss, I have the string 3-7, I have either the empty string or the comma space copyright symbol. Now I'm home free. We're nothing left but the crying. String append of, again, I'm thinking of this exact cat in the hat example. Making it concrete, it makes my life a little bit easier. Yeah, I'm going to have the cat in the hat followed by what comes next in my output, the cat in the hat, comma space by, comma space by space. Oh my goodness. Then the book author. So, okay. What comes after the book author? A space and an open paren. And now that string 3-7. Okay. And then the words P, PP, close paren. And now my intuition for the cat in the hat is a little bit, it's not the general case, because I realize, oh, I either do this or I do the empty string. Yeah, okay, so I think I do it. Okay, is that right? Easy to find out. Press the run button. Get an unbalanced thing there. I took that off, but didn't. Took off the first, but didn't put the back. Okay. Gosh, my template here is a little bit off. To get this template, I could comment out the whole template. It turns out the ... is allowed in templates, okay? But what is not allowed is having multiple, I need to somehow, this is back in my template. I have, 5 tests, 1 failed. It was the one about the PP versus the PG. I knew that was going to fail. Now I could go and fix that and worry about the logic for that one. If I wanted to, I'm going to leave it as it is. I will point out that the template is kind of weird. That my template looks like, hey, call some function and pass it this, and maybe other things as well. So maybe, yeah. Okay. Great. We're pretty happy. We now have this. Let's go ahead and talk more about the template. So this now, the template for a union type, sorry, not a union type, a compound type, a product type, a struct, is simply all the getters, and maybe slap that open paren and a closed paren around all of that stuff with a ... thrown in there. Dr. Racket is smart enough to know that if you have a ... it must be a template, so it doesn't actually worry about syntax errors beyond that, but it does sort of say, hey, you can't just list the 4 things by themselves, because that 4 answers, you're going to have to somehow take those 4 answers and put them together. Okay. So, we're going to come back, and I'm going to talk about the inventory by parts, another step that we actually just did, but I'm going to leave you now for this is new part of step 3. The template for a compound struct is simply all the getters. And this is going to go with, I didn't write it down before, but the template for a union type with k branches is a cond with k question answer pairs along with the k questions for the k branches. A compound type, a template for a compound type with k fields is simply calling the k getters. K is 4 in this case. Okay, so these are both how to make a template for compound types, for union types. Be aware of which one you're using. Another common problem I get, I give a definition of a compound type, ask for a template, people give me a cond. No, you were thinking, that was if I gave you a union type. If I give you a compound type saying this and this and this, your template will not have a cond. And conversely, if I give you a union type, this or this or this, then your template does have a cond and does not have any getters going on because there aren't any getters for a union type at that top level. Okay. So yeah, we're pretty happy. We go ahead and have code that looks like this and can do the book to string. Okay, let's take a little break and come back in a moment.